Hey everybody, what's up? It's Andrew Martin coming to you with your September 2018 energy transmission video. Man, how is it possible that it is September already? I don't even know. Of course, as a Virgo, I am thrilled that we are in Virgo season, and I've got a lot of interesting stuff, hopefully helpful stuff that I'm going to share with you in this month's video. The theme for this month's video is remember who you are. All that we have been through over the summer has brought us to this clarified place, this refined place. We may not still be able to see 100% clearly, but that doesn't mean that the truth is not emerging. As the dust continues to settle, as we move towards the equinox and things come back into balance, we are going to start to see things manifest in a much clearer, much easier, much less intense way than it has been over the past few months of this summer and this eclipse passage and whatever the hell else was going on. I don't even know. But before we jump into it, I have a couple of announcements as usual. This is the first ever energy transmission video that I am doing since I've started my Patreon page. For those of you who are on Patreon and following me there and have decided to become a patron, you are getting to see this video before anybody else. That is one of the benefits of being on Patreon and following me there, is that you get access to all of my video content before anybody else does. Well, actually that's not entirely true, because if I do like a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live, of course that will happen, simultaneously. But in terms of my energy transmissions and anything else that's pre-recorded and pre-designed, you guys get to see it first. So if you're not following me on Patreon, then that means you're watching this on or after the first. So if you want to be able to get the sneak peek and see it first, you can follow me there, and I'll put all the links in the description. As always, Mastery Mentorship is open for business. I think I've got 3 spots, maybe 2. Someone's still on the fence. We're not entirely sure. So there are some spots available for Mastery Mentorship, which, as you know, is life-changing transformational work. If you want to talk about transformation, if you want to talk about finding your truth and accessing that place inside of you that is always, always connected and always, always present with you, Mastery Mentorship is the way to go. It's all about purpose. It's all about next steps. It's all about putting you back in the driver's seat, putting you back in that throne of sovereignty so that you can begin to consciously and deliberately create the life you dream of. Not by default, not on accident, but on purpose with focus and deliberation. So I'll put the Mastery Mentorship information in the description below. And always, as a reminder, you do get a free 30-minute intake call for the Mastery Mentorship program, because it is a significant investment of time and money and energy. And I want to be sure that we both feel like it's the right next step for you. So that's how you do that. You can book that through my calendar. And I think that that's really it. I've got a couple of other things going on this month. I'm going to be doing a energy transmission, or excuse me, a sound healing circle for the Equinox. So that is going to be coming up at the end of September. Again, links will be in the description, as well as there was something else I wanted to share with you, but it's escaping me right now. So maybe I'll remember it as we proceed. But for right now, oh yeah. So the sound healing circle for Patreon members, that's another benefit of being on my Patreon, is that I am doing a monthly sound healing circle, online sound healing circle for Patreon members only. So you get the MP3 and you get access to the monthly sound healing circle. You also get the guided meditation MP3, which I'm going to be working on after this video. So I got a lot going on, and I'm really super excited to share all of this information with you, and really, really hope that you will follow me on Patreon, because it's an amazing thing. On to the video. I mean, how else can we talk about it, right? How else can I share with you what we've all been through? Because I know it has been intense. I know it has been crazy. I know that it has felt like a pressure cooker that will not relent. It has been insane. It has been crazy. It has been deep. It has been boring. It has been surreal. It has been incredible. It has been all of, I mean, pick an adjective and that's what it has been. But I think the most important thing to remember right now, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you are still going through, no matter what you might be worried about that could potentially be on the horizon, I want to take a second right now for us to just acknowledge that you are here. All of the stuff that you've been through, everything that you have gone through, everything that you have lost, everything that you have gained, everything that is still unclear and you don't know how it's going to turn out. You are here. You are here right now. You woke up this morning. You have breath in your lungs. You have blood pumping through your body. You have, I am assuming, the use of all of your physical faculties, at least enough to watch this video. You are here. The earth hasn't swallowed up opened up and swallowed you whole. Things haven't come crashing down in a thunderous, chaotic blaze around you, or maybe they have, but you're here. And I think that it's really important that we stop and take a moment to acknowledge that all that we have been through, as intense as it may have been, we're here. We made it. And no, things aren't perfect right now, and no, things may still be difficult, and yes, things might still be frustrating and stressful or whatever, but you're here. Right now. It's just you and me, and you are here. So just take a minute to sink into that awareness. Take a minute to acknowledge that no matter what your mind is trying to convince you of with the chatter, monkey mind, fear porn, whatever else is going on in your head, no matter what's going on with your physical body, no matter what's going on with your relationships or your job or your money or whatever else, you are here. And the theme for September is all about remember who you are. Remember who you are. And what I mean by that is no matter what we've been through, you are not your struggle. Your struggle has shaped you, but it does not define you. You are not your pain. Your pain has shaped you, but it is not you. Remember who you are. Remember all that you've come through. Remember the fire that burns inside of you. Remember the passion that sparks and wakes you up. Remember who you are. And this is really, really important now because as we stand on the verge of September and as the clarity begins to come in, as things start to open up, we've had like 5 or 6 planets retrograde off and on for most of the year, if I'm not mistaken. There's at least been some major players. Mercury went direct, Mars has gone direct, and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see other planets continue to go direct, which always opens up the path in front of us. Retrograde, you've heard me say, I'm not one of those people who, oh my God, the sky is falling, a planet is retrograde, shit's gonna fall apart. No, retrograde to me is always an opportunity just to go within. And with so many planets retrograde, it was like we couldn't even move forward. It was like dead ends, cul-de-sacs, switchbacks, bait and switch. I mean, you name it. It just wasn't allowing for really, really easy, simple, effortless forward momentum. But that is going to change. As we move more into September and as we approach the equinox, I always think of the fall equinox as a time where balance comes back in. And I always feel like between June, the solstice in June, and the equinox in September, we go through a massive amount of change. And then this year, with all the other stuff that was happening planetarily and astrologically and energetically, it was like next level change. So no matter where we are right now, no matter if we're still a little lost, if we're still a little fuzzy, if we're still a little unsure, one thing has emerged. One thing has emerged, and that is the truth. You've heard me say this over and over again, and I will continue to do so. Only you know what truth feels like. And it might not have been a big truth with a capital T. It might have been smaller. It might still be revealing itself. You might only have breadcrumbs at this point, but something has emerged. Think about what you have gone through, what you have experienced and, possibly endured since the beginning of June. And think about now the truth that is clear, the truth that is beginning to reveal itself, that little inkling of like, oh, yeah, I see it. I get it. It's clear. Or that sense of, yeah, I feel it bubbling up. There's something coming. There's something coming. And here's the deal with truth. You've heard me say this a lot. The truth is always simple. The truth is always simple. It only becomes complicated when I try to deny it, when I try to change it, when I try to cover it up and call it something else, when I try to switch it up and put glitter all over it and call it a diamond or whatever, when it's not, you know what I'm saying? So truth is always simple. So the question is, what do you know about yourself now that you didn't know 3 years ago, or 3 months ago? 3 years ago. I mean, God, I can't even, there's not enough time in the day for me to talk about all that's changed over 3 years. But the truth is always simple. So what has acknowledged, what has revealed itself to you? What has shown itself to you? And are you willing to acknowledge it? Are you willing to take action that is inspired by this truth? Truth is a funny thing. Truth is like the weather. The rain doesn't care if you have a picnic planned, it's gonna rain. Not because it's out to get you, not because it has an agenda, it's because it's the weather. That's what it does. It rains, it snows, it sunshines, it winds, it blows, it whatever it does. But the truth doesn't care. Here's the tricky motherfucking thing about the truth. The truth does not care if you think you're ready. The truth does not care if you want it to be the truth. The truth doesn't care if you think you're prepared, if you think you're worthy, if you're afraid, if you're nervous, if you're anxious. The truth is here because something within you has shifted that has allowed it to emerge. So the truth that has emerged in your life over this past summer is because of the work that you have done. The truth that has emerged is because of your willingness to show up and be present with yourself and your life and your circumstances, no matter what it is. The truth sometimes emerges when it's time for us to get kicked into high gear with our spiritual awakening, right? So truth comes in many different forms. Truth comes in many different ways, but it's always simple. And really, it's always only really ever for you. Your truth might make no sense to me, and vice versa. Your truth of what makes you happy and what lights you up might be a freaking nightmare for me. But that doesn't matter. The important thing to know about truth is that it is here because it's time for us to acknowledge it. It's time for us to really face it and say, okay, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, whatever, and I am ready to take the action that this truth has inspired. Now, I'm not saying we got to jump the gun and go crazy because really I think this first week of September, we've got a little bit more kind of bubbling to do. The cake is still baking a little bit, but we're getting clearer and clearer and we're starting to smell it in the air, right? Like I always think of my granny. She was an amazing baker and we were really, really close. She passed several years ago, but one of the things that we loved to do together was to bake. And it always amazed me that she almost never set a timer. She would just know we would be baking biscuits or cookies or a pie or whatever, and then she would put it in the oven and we would go sit down and play cards. And then she would just know, oh, it's ready. And she would just smell it in the air. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's what do you know on a visceral level? What do you know that just rises up within you? You know it like you know your name. You just know it. Because truth is a really, really interesting thing. When we allow it to emerge into our experience, it creates a new landscape. If you want to talk about changing your external reality, right? Because you've heard me say this before too, right? This is the internal, this is the primary reality. What's going on in here is the impetus for all of the stuff that's going on out here. So this is the primary reality, this is the secondary reality. And if you want to talk about bringing a bulldozer and a demolition crew to this world out here for anything that you're like, I'm not feeling this anymore, I want this to change, I'm ready for this to go down, I want new in this area, I want whatever in this area, it's all about the truth. If you want to radically redesign the life that you are living, the landscape that you are surveying externally, tell the fucking truth. Live the truth. Claim the truth. Understand the truth. Make friends with the truth. Acknowledge the truth and draw from the truth. Because truth opens up a higher expression. Truth kind of takes the lid off of wherever we are. If we're feeling stuck, if we're feeling like there's a glass ceiling, if we're feeling like I just can't get there, I don't know what it is, it's all about the truth. And if you're saying, well, I don't know what the truth is, I don't know what you're talking about, I have no idea. That's entirely possible. That's entirely plausible. Generally, I think, well, you know, there is some truth probably. If we're ever feeling stuck, it's almost always because there's something we haven't acknowledged or taken action on. It's like, where's my sign? Where's my sign? Where's my sign? And your guides or the universe or, you know, it's like, dude, the sign is right in front of your face, but you won't acknowledge it because you don't think you're ready for it. It's not what you want. You don't want to say it because that's the other thing. The truth creates an opportunity for us to claim who we are, for us to claim responsibility for what we have created. And if we are still trying to pretend that what we kind of know is true isn't true, or the thing that's staring us in the face, the elephant in the room, nope, I'm just gonna move around it, I'm gonna crawl over it, I'm gonna go under it. Truth within an illusion. Because this is all an illusion, right? Yes, it's an illusion that's very persistent. And yes, it is an illusion that has its own fundamental rules and assumptions and sort of rules that we have to play by, parameters that we are bound by. But there's a lot of wiggle room in there. And truth within an illusion changes the illusion. Because again, all of this out here is only in the way that it is because of my belief about it. Belief is what inspires my action and my choices. If I believe myself to be a certain way, that is going to be the thing that inspires me to act or to choose or to decide in a certain way. If I think that I'm worthless and don't deserve love, that is really going to inform the choices that I make when it comes to relationships and dating, yeah? If I think that money is the root of all evil and I'll never have it, or it's, you know, the cause of unhappiness, or it's a horrible, terrible, awful thing, then I'm always going to have a contentious relationship with it. So truth within an illusion changes the illusion, and the truth that has arrived for us over the past couple of months is all about who and what you really are. A spiritual journey, a spiritual experience, in my perception, isn't about really gaining anything. It's about losing things. It's about losing the story. It's about losing the illusion. It's about losing the old bullshit idea. It's about losing the programming and the indoctrination and the dogma that just keeps us heavy and weighted down. Truth creates a new landscape. If you want to radically redesign the life that you are living, if you are not happy with what's going on out here, it's time to tap into your truth. That's really what a lot of the Mastery Mentorship work is, by the way. It's about finding your truth. It's about helping you find that connection so that you can tap into that. Because once you carry your truth in your pocket, once you have embodied it and it's something that is unmistakable and unshakable, man, that's when things get really, really good, because now I carry it with me. Now I know exactly who and what I am, and nobody can take that away from me. If it's an illusion, if it's something that I'm clinging on to and saying, no, this is my power, this is my power, this is the thing that makes me powerful, guarantee you, there's going to come a time when you are going to be asked to relieve yourself of the illusion that this is the thing that makes you powerful. It's like a little kid with their security blanket, right? It's really only powerful because they believe that it is, and at some point they move into a time in their life where they're required to let it go. And oftentimes for those kids, it is a horrible thing. I'm sad, I'm scared, no, I need it, no, I love it. But it's really just an avatar. It's really just a crutch. The truth is within. The truth resides in here. So it's really about remembering who you are. Remember who you are. Remember the things that were really, really important to you. Remember the things that you're passionate about. Remember the things that light you up and bring you joy. It's not about finding joy out here. It's about tapping into here to find that well of joy so that I can bring it with me. I bring joy to my work. That's what makes it joyful. I love what I get to do, man. It lights me up, and that's what makes it exciting and fulfilling and rewarding for me. I don't get joy from staring at my phone and working on my laptop to edit and do whatever I need to do for this video. I get joy knowing that, man, this is what I get to do. This is the fucking thrill of a lifetime, that I get to do this for a living, and that you so graciously and generously give me your time and attention. That is what makes me joyful. That is what lights me up, is that I get to walk this path in this lifetime. So that is what infuses everything that I do with joy. And if we're looking for a higher expression, if we're looking for a deeper understanding, it all begins from drawing on truth. And this is the other thing that I see happen time and time and time again. People are asking about their purpose. People want to create something new. People want to build another thing, or build the thing that's for them, or I want to build my own business, or whatever. If you don't know the truth of who and what you are, how can you ever expect your creation to be stable and sustainable? Right? If I'm not really, really getting super, super honest about who I am and what I want and what I need, if I'm not advocating for myself, if I'm not using this powerful instrument of my voice to speak up and say, this is what I require, this is no longer acceptable, this is what I need, these are the boundaries and parameters. I mean, come on, you guys, even Disneyland has requirements. You must be this tall to ride this ride. And how many of us walk around with no boundaries, no clear defined assertion of who we are and what we require? So you got to tap into that truth. You got to start to draw from that truth. And yeah, in the beginning, it might be really, really difficult. It might be really, really scary, and it might feel really tricky and almost impossible to achieve. But the truth is not going anywhere. The truth is a force of nature. And our number one purpose, the first purpose, the primary purpose above all else, is to know thyself. Because when you know who you are, when you know what you are and you embody that and that is woven through you and you carry it with you, none of this means anything anymore. None of this is more important, right? It's what I was talking about in the last video. My happiness is just as important as my sadness. My illness is just as important as my health. My death is just as important as my birth. All of it matters and none of it matters because this is the illusion, and I came here so that this illusion could create for me the perfect circumstances for me to discover who and what I really am and to live that. Whose life are you living? Whose bottom line are you working for? Whose dream are you chasing? Whose beliefs are you repeating over and over and over and calling them truth? So there's a couple of things that I want to share with you that will help guide you through this month. Now, this month isn't going to be as intense as the rest of the summer. I fucking hope so. Even as I say that, I find my own trust issue bubbling up and going, girl, I don't know, are you sure? It's like PTSD. The number one that I want to share with you is one of my favorite ones, and I've been saying this over and over and over. If you've been watching me for a while, there was a video that came out a couple of years ago that I shared. Maybe it was a post, I don't remember, but Kuan Yin, I was working a lot with Kuan Yin at the time, and she came through with a message that said, be like water. And this idea of be like water was that water is the perfect embodiment of balance, of the masculine and the feminine, of the receptive and the assertive. Because water takes the shape of whatever it is in, but it does not get attached to it, right? We can say, wow, this glass is really controlling this water. Not really, because the minute that I pour it out, it just falls right out. The water is not resistant. The water is simultaneously assertive and receptive as it is flowing through the shape of the whatever container, a riverbed that has sort of formed it for the moment. And the water is moving through the riverbed. A big old rock lands in the middle of the stream. The water doesn't stop and have a breakdown. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm blocked. No, the water just moves around it. It goes over it, under it, around it, or over time it goes through it. So in that vein, what I wanna share with you is this. Water finds its own level. And this is a way that we can remind ourselves that we don't have to have our hands in every single thing. You know, I've said this before, relax, control freaks. The universe is self-correcting. You don't have to control it all. Water finds its own level. If I were to pour this glass of water out on this table, on my desk, and watch it move through the floor or whatever it did, it will always find its own level. It will always come to balance. Even if I'm on a slope like this, right, and there's a pothole right here, water's gonna fill it up, and it's still gonna find a way to take the shape of the container and find its level. The point of this is to say is that as we proceed towards the end of this month and the equinox comes in to really help us reunite with that balance, just trust. You've made it this far. If you're still breathing and still watching this video after the intensity of the summer that we've gone through, you're fine. Right here, right now, I promise you, if you have the 20 or 30 minutes or however long this video ends up being to stop and watch this video, you're doing pretty well. Water finds its own level. So for anything that is unresolved, for anything that isn't entirely clear, for anything that's perhaps still a little tangled and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Water finds its own level. Just let it find its level and it will show you what it needs. There's another one I'm gonna share with you. And this is really, really good for when you're finding yourself confused or you're finding lots of chatter or you don't know which end is up and you don't know if it's left or right, Monday or Friday, what day is it, how old am I, where am I, what's my name? When you're finding yourself just so overwhelmed by everything that's going on inside of you and you don't know where to start, think of a cocktail party. Think of your life, think of your world, all of the people that you know, all of your cast of characters internally, all of the issues or problems or difficulties or whatever you want to call it. Think of that as a cocktail party, and you are the host of the cocktail party, and in this cocktail party, every guest is some part of you or your life. Just stop, get still, and listen. What is the loudest voice in the room? Is it you? Is it your voice? Is it the voice of an old story? Is it the voice of an old wound? Is it the voice of an old boyfriend or an old partner or a parent or a teacher or whoever? Is it the voice of someone that's currently in your life that's just, is it the voice of a physical issue? Whatever you find is the answer of what's the loudest voice in the room. That is a perfect example, a beautiful clue as to where to begin to acknowledge and pay attention and focus. Because oftentimes we are so focused on the wrong thing, right? I've been saying this a lot lately, that my work isn't really about finding answers. You already know the answer. My work is about asking new questions. So when you look around and go, what is the loudest voice in the room? Man, the loudest voice in the room right now is my physical situation, right? Something wrong with my body. The loudest voice in the room is my financial situation. The loudest voice in the room is whatever. Use that as a way to begin to focus. Where can I give my acknowledgement? Where can I give my compassion? Where can I give my love? And it's a place to start. And here is my favorite one. I love this one. Think about a well. Right? If you imagine that you've got a well that you go to for your water, and you use it to cook with, you use it to drink, you use it to wash yourself, your clothes, your whatever. It's your source of water. What well are you drawing from? In your life, with your beliefs and your choices, what is it that's driving you? Are you drawing from your well of power? When you're faced with a choice or a challenge or a difficulty or a question, are you falling into victim consciousness? Are you falling into anger or fear? What well are you drawing from? If you're drawing from the well of fear, that's going to taint everything that you use to create that water with, right? Or use to create from that water, right? If I'm drawing from the well of power, then that's what I'm drinking, and that's what I'm cooking in, and that's what I'm consuming, and that's what I'm washing myself, that's what I'm immersing myself in, is my power. But if I'm drawing from the well of fear, that's a much different experience. And if I'm drawing from the well of truth, y'all know how that one turns out. Because I think there's something very interesting about this victim consciousness. And personally, a lot of what I have been sitting with over the summer and a lot of the issue that's been coming up with me, for me, is the victim. My victim. The part of me that always wants to be a victim. And in order for us to be in victim consciousness, we must have something to be powerless against. Because otherwise I can't be the victim. So when I'm finding myself in victim mode, oh, okay, there's a sign. I am just believing that something out here is more powerful than I am. So I'm gonna dump that water back into the fear victim well, and I'm gonna go over to the well of my power, the well of my truth, and I'm going to remember who I am. This month is really about starting to put the pieces back together. This month is really about starting to receive clarity and insight and that exhale. And until that happens, or while that is happening, while that is in process, remember the truth. Remember the truth. And if you don't know what the truth is, then sit down with a pen and paper and write out this simple statement. What I know to be true right now is ... And you fill in the blank. Remember who you are, because that is the thing that has survived all of this. That infinite, eternal, indelible, immortal part of you that is the reason why you are here. That is who you really are, so remember that. When all of this gets too much and you don't know how it's gonna happen, you don't know how it's gonna work out, and you just don't know. Remember who you are and draw on that well of strength, and let that be the thing that feeds you. And trust that when you draw from the truth, when you live with the truth, when you speak and you act and you choose from your truth, that is what creates a new landscape. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited to share this video with you as the first ever Patreon preview. I hope you have a fantastic September. You'll be seeing more of me this month, not to worry. I love you. Thank you for watching. Oh, go to my website, andrewmartin.energy. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now Patreon are all Andrew Martin Energy. Find me, follow me, book a session with me, do your Mastery Mentorship intake so we can get to some real work. I love you. Have a fantastic September. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah!